After this weekend, does anybody understand now why I continuously advocate that we need a rule system and not a vote-in system? Think about it, man. Georgia is probably going to get in at this point, right? But Alabama came in ranked number 7 week to week. You're 7 one week. You'll lose a game. Now where are you going to be at next weekend? And with the way things are going, there's probably going to be a 3-loss football team in the CFP. And at this moment, if Bama can hang on and win out their last game of the season, I would venture to guess it will probably be them. But this is why I say we need a rule system, because things change so dramatically from one week to the next. And even then, did anybody really think that Alabama, with their loss to Vanderbilt, who, by the way, lost to Georgia State, deserved to really, truly be in the position that they were in, that high of a ranking? Does anybody really think that that was an acceptable situation for Alabama? So if we had a rules situation instead of a vote-in situation, the point is, I don't know that Alabama would have even been thought about going into the CFP. Now, here's the main thing here, right? Indiana, they couldn't have really honestly ended up in a better situation, because even though they lost to Ohio State, with Bama losing, with A&M losing, Colorado, BYU, et cetera, they've got a shot now. I don't know that they need that Penn State loss, which almost happened against Minnesota last night, but I don't know that they really need a Penn State loss in order to survive this thing. They still might be able to get in. I think if they finish business this weekend, they'll be okay. One loss, they're going to be able to get in. Now, 2 losses is going to prevent them probably. But even then, they still might be able to sneak in because of everything that we just saw this weekend. Now, before Alabama fan gets bent out of shape, I want to say something here. I think everybody in the world would see that play, people who don't know rules, and go, that should not have been a penalty. If I was Caleb DeBoer, I'd have been freaking the hell out on the sideline too. I probably would have freaked out to the point where I would have got ejected. That was a BS call. I'm not one to blame officiating. That play absolutely could have changed the entire complexity of the football game. However, I will state that you still technically can't blame officiating. If you're doing your job, you're not in that position to begin with. And OU, especially this season, is supposed to be an inferior opponent. I mean, let's just keep it a buck here. They are supposed to be inferior. You fumbled the bag. A lot of teams fumbled the bag. You know, everybody said that Colorado's schedule was so winnable, except for this guy, but I get called a prime hater. You know, you can't be honest with people. You just can't. And especially with the way things went down this weekend, if Colorado beats KU, they are absolutely in the college football playoff. I don't even think there's any doubts about it. But they fumbled the bag. They're not ready. There's not enough balance. The defense. And by the way, everybody talking about, well, Georgia had all these ranked games. Well, KU's won 3 ranked games in a row. You think they deserve to be in? The fact of the matter is simply this. If we had a rules situation, we would not be sitting here having to split hairs, debate, and all this other BS. We would just have a system in place. You follow the system, and that's it. It'd be pretty fucking easy. But no, we got to make things complicated because it helps the brand and it gets talked about and all that BS. But that's exactly what it is BS. And by the way, Ole Miss, they're probably out. They're going to be a 3-loss football team. Now, here's the thing. If there is a 3-loss football team that's got a shot, I would suspect it would be Alabama, but Ole Miss does have the win over Georgia, right? So Georgia's going to be in the SEC championship game. You have that win in your back pocket, you still might be able to do it. But even then, look, these are the coaches that I consistently try to talk to people about. Lane Kiffin is another example, and I've been saying it all season long. Why does anybody think Ole Miss is going to win out in the SEC? I don't want to hear about the competitive level in the SEC. It literally has nothing to do with that, people. It has to do with coaching to begin with. Then after that, it is all 100% about execution. But I always say that 99.999% of the time, you as a team become reflective of your coach. And that's exactly what happened at Ole Miss. They became reflective of who their coach is. It didn't work out with the Raiders. It didn't work out at USC. It didn't work out with the Vols. He's been great as an offensive coordinator, but as a head football coach, never. He has 100% consistently fumbled the bag. Now, I understand that the best team he probably had overall with Treadwell, he got hurt and the season completely changed for them. But even then, I think that losing, 4 games in a row, 3 in the regular season, and then the bowl game to end the year, that's still a bit much. How can you not win? This is just Lane Kiffin football. We're talking about the same football coach who literally instructed his players, was it the Kentucky game? Hey, man, get down and act like you're hurt. You cannot, in all good consciousness, tell me that you think Lane Kiffin is a good football coach and stress to me all about the competitive level with the SEC. I'm just not buying it. And look, here's the thing. All these people want to argue my comment section. Well, how good do you think the Big 12 is? I've said 1,000,001 times, I don't think the Big 12 should be a power conference. Not without Texas, not without OU. It was bad enough when they lost the 4 teams, A&M, Nebraska, etc. Mizzou. It's just a big brand that continues to stick around. What are you advocating? I am advocating for a playoff system. Are you not hearing me? It should be open. There's 134 teams in Division I college football. It should be much more open than this. They have regaled it down to what this is. An invitational where all the prettiest girls are going to get the benefit of the doubt. Who are the prettiest girls? They're Alabama, they're Georgia, they're Ole Miss. Vanderbilt beat Bama, who lost to Georgia State, people. I do not want to hear about the competition level. A couple of weeks ago, the 5 losses that these teams had against the other Power 3 conferences, those teams were combined 21-17. And the opponents of the opponents weren't that much better either. I don't want to hear about it anymore. I'm sick of it. I'm not saying that the SEC hasn't been the best. What I'm saying is they've been top heavy, and their sustainability has been through the continuous promotion of ESPN because of the financial investment that they have had in them since 2008. In a 37-year time frame, from 1970 to 2007, the SEC won exactly 10 national championships, and a bunch of them were split. ESPN gets involved, and all of a sudden, all they do is win. ESPN is not, excuse me, ESPN is not going Disney, they're not going to allow for a true playoff system because it would screw them over. Why? Because a 3-loss SEC team is going to get in. And they are going to get in over teams with 1 loss, with 2 loss. And you're going to have Reese Davis going, well, how come nobody's advocating for Army? I don't understand. Why isn't anybody advocating for Army? I don't get it. Obviously, that blowout to Notre Dame doesn't look good. But you never know what a matchup problem might present. And even then, trickle down and trickle up economics. You figure out a way to get into the playoff through a system as opposed to a vote-in. And just being there starts to financially help you. And the other conferences, they would catch up, Conference USA, et cetera, because now they would have more trickle-down economics. Trickle up, whatever the hell you want to call it. It would work in their favor because now it's, hey, we're in the college football playoff, and if they win even just a game, that's going to be huge. They don't want that, though, because they need their money to stay where their money is. Well, Disney's got Fox, and Big Ten. Look at how many Big Ten teams are ranked in there. All you people saying that Penn State shouldn't be in. It's a joke. It's BS. They haven't played anybody. Well, who's ranking these teams? People. People are deciding by natural brand recognition alone that these teams are supposed to be good. You hate it because I come along and tell you I don't buy into that. Just because they got a shield, I don't buy into it. You can hoot and holler all the hell you want to. You're not changing my mind, compadre. I don't think Ole Miss belongs just because they're Ole Miss. I don't think Georgia belongs just because they're Georgia. I don't think Bama belongs just because they're Bama, LSU, or anybody else. LSU lost to a very mediocre USC football team and was still given the benefit of the doubt how many times throughout the season? Alabama is probably still going to have a chance just because they're Alabama, even though they have 3 really bad losses. That loss to Vanderbilt should strike you as a horrible loss. That loss that we saw last night against OU, that should strike you as a horrible loss. How it doesn't is beyond me. And what do you try to do? You just justify that the SEC is the best. Nah. That's not it. And you know that's not it. But you have to live in your delusion, so I don't really give a damn, bro. What do I think the committee is going to do? Well, I think, honestly, Indiana is not going to move a whole hell of a lot because you're going to have to move Alabama down significantly after that loss, whether anybody likes it or not. But here's the thing. They'll probably still be a 12 or a 13. I mean, it won't shock me. Oregon, obviously, still going to be number 1. Ohio State's going to be number 2. Texas isn't going anywhere. Penn State's not going anywhere. Notre Dame's probably going to move up into that 5 spot. Alabama's probably going to fall to a 13, 14 at the absolute bare minimum. Georgia, they're going to move up a couple of spots. Ole Miss, they're going to move down to probably a 17. Tennessee's going to move up. Miami, Boise State, SMU's probably going to be up in there creeping around now. BYU, they're done. A&M, they're done. Colorado, they're definitely done. Clemson still has a shot. Army, they're done. I would love to say Tulane, but, how many group of 5 teams are you legitimately going to let in? You're not. Arizona State's going to move up significantly, but I'd probably still see them creeping around, that 12 to 15, that's going to be hard right now. 12 to 15 is going to be real difficult. I'm telling you, I can't wait to see this. Stay safe, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your night and or day.